A lot of you folks who've been tuning in for my show might find yourself wondering how I video these fishing adventures up close and personal. Well, for the most part, since I've been doing this, I have had a little contraption that I've built that sits on my chest. I've experimented with things over the last several months, and I don't really like the hat cams because I think that there's just too much of this movement back and forth when you're videoing. To each his own, but I don't like them. I've seen little mounting devices that go on your fishing rod right behind your reel, and those items, to me, it seems like when you would cast, although you can edit a lot of that out, it would seem like there would just be way too much movement when you're trying to reel a fish in, and you would be lacking a lot of the video footage that you would otherwise get using another method. Some folks like to use a tripod to video, like Uncle Steve. A lot of you guys may have watched his videos, and nice elderly gentleman. He sets up a fishing situation where he's got a tripod, and he's got a mic on himself where he mics himself, and it actually does away with a lot of the ambient sounds. If there's a lot of wind, he can be heard very well. I think that's really neat. So I guess you could consider this a little bit of a shout out to Uncle Steve. So go watch his channel. We enjoy watching his relaxed, laid back way of fishing, and a lot of you folks may too. But you got, like Uncle Steve, the folks who use the tripod, and I do sometimes too, but for the most part I like to kind of have almost like a video game look to it, really, when I'm fishing. That's what it seems like it is to me. But what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to try to show you how I've made this, basically how I've come up with this little camera mounting device that I put on my chest. Fits around my midsection, where I think actually reduces a lot of the movement that would otherwise be present in many of those other ways of videoing. It's by no means perfect. You can probably tweak it to fit your situation. I'm going to show you here in a minute the materials that I'll use to come up with it, and hopefully this will be something that will be beneficial to you as you prepare your fishing arsenal. So stay tuned and we'll see what we come up with. This right here is a tripod that I got a few years ago from Walmart for about 20 bucks. It's been banged up pretty good. I've had to put electrical tape around it periodically, and one of the legs has broken off. That's what this is right here. This is a broken leg, and it's not really a bad little device, but I'm going to use it since it's kind of broken up in building this contraption I'm going to use to video. It has a piece that's got a 1/4 inch thread that will go into your camera, which is generally the thread on the bottom of your cameras. Most of your video cameras have got a 1/4 inch thread on them, and this will pop in and out so that if you wanted to video yourself real quick or something else and then put it right back on to get back on your fishing subject, then you could pop it in and out. And I would recommend a lanyard too, like my Kodak PlaySport has. You can put it around here to, in case it does happen to pop out, it doesn't end up in the water. I have cut an old bungee strap here. Probably found it on the road somewhere. I keep my eyes open for those things when I'm driving around. And I'm going to use it to probably rope around here, go around my back, and then come back up in here somehow. We'll see how it works out. This material right here is basically just a pipe insulation. It's slit down the middle right there, and I'm going to end up putting it over this piece which is going to be kind of bridging up against my chest for some support, and then these that will probably end up going around my rib area. And I've used it before without them, and it's kind of rubs you raw a little bit throughout the day. So I'm going to see how the padding ends up working. This is just a piece that I used to play around with. I had it on there, and it just kind of broke up on me, so I thought maybe I'll work on a little different design here. You can never go wrong having some bungee straps available. You can get these at Walmart. That's they have adjustments in them and whatnot, so it's pretty thin stuff, and you'll find that they carry an awful lot of different sizes and lengths on bungee cords too. I used to use this. I may still use it. This is the part that went around my neck, and then these would go down and come down, and I would tie them off on this to keep the up and down movement stabilized. And then of course we have a couple different types of duct tape if we decide to use them, and scissors, got our electrical tape here, and a knife. So we'll just go ahead and get started on it and see how this thing goes together, because I've got a few ideas. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet, but I'm 80-90% of the way there, so we'll kind of walk through the process and see what we come up with. Well, once I got the blue bungee cord attached and cinched up, I strapped this around my chest, and I realized I wasn't going to be able to breathe too well. So you want to take into consideration the comfort level of the device you're going to be putting on your body, because after all, we go to fish to have fun, don't we? So I'm going to take this yellow one here. It's longer, it's more flexible than this blue one, and I'm going to take these end pieces off and get back with you after we get it attached. Well, via process of elimination, I have decided that the staples are not going to work here, because it would not go through the fabric here of the bungee cord. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to employ the use of needle and thread, and I'm going to stitch this up real good here, and then I'm going to go over the top of it with electrical tape. We'll do the same thing on the other side. We'll bring this one on around and try to make the adjustments for my rib cage and get back with you. Alright, there's a shot of it before I zoom in to show you the thread attached. And there's the thread. Now I'm going to wrap over it a little bit with some electrical tape to kind of seal the deal. And there's our little work in progress once the electrical tape has been applied. And now, since this piece right here is broken, I'd kind of like to be able to give it a little bit of rigidity to keep from coming apart, so I'm going to wrap it with electrical tape too and kind of round the base with it here for the next step. And as you can see, the electrical tape has now been applied to the piece I was concerned about there. Now for the next step, I have cut 3 individual pieces 4.5 inches long so they can fit over top of each other of this pipe insulation, and it's going to fit down over the piece that I just put the electrical tape on for stability and also comfort on my chest. Now I haven't secured it yet, but I imagine I'll probably use duct tape to do that, so I will go ahead and get after that and let you see the next step. Well, there it is, wrapped in duct tape, and I think I'm going to put a final coating of duct tape on in camo style, just for grins. Well, now our little device has been wrapped in camo tape. Let's not forget this is also a hunting channel. Alright, now I'm going to secure the yellow bungee strap to the tripod legs to make it just a little bit more secure and give it less opportunity to catch on things when I'm fishing. Alright, I've turned it around to the back side, the side that's actually going to be facing toward the fisherman. I've secured the bungee strap with electrical tape in 4 places for more stability. point to those places here. And I have cut the 2 pieces of pipe insulation to put over the tripod legs, so it feels a little bit better against the fisherman's rib cage. And there's our product with the 2 pieces of pipe insulation in place. And I think for now I'm going to see if I can do without taping them. Something tells me that floating around on a boat in the hot summer sun, I'd probably be better off with the least amount of tape possible. Well, for now I have decided to retain the original neck strap that I've been using for the past several months. Now, basically all I've done here is I have secured some old shoestrings, some shoelaces to the bottom, and I've stapled and electrical taped everything together here. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to give you some adjustment when you put it over your neck. I'll go ahead and put it on and explain that and show you the final product. Alright, we've got this piece on. Now, like I said, I retained the original neck strap. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw it over the top, because you want some stability this way too. You don't want it bouncing around on you too much. And then basically all it is a matter of taking and tucking the shoestrings up underneath. And who knows, maybe I'll think of a better design down the road somewhere. But this seems to be adequate for now. And just kind of wrap them around until you kind of get all the slack out of it. And then tie them off in front. Make a double knot out of it here, which I haven't done, but you get the idea. Now, one thing I will tell you is that you've probably already seen this already, but and since I'm videoing with the Kodak PlaySport, which is a very streamlined camera, kind of looks like a cell phone type thing, I can put that on here because it's only going to take up about this much room. But if you're trying to put a big HD camera on here, not only is it going to be heavy, but it's also going to get in the way. So, and one thing that I need to do too is I need to pull this up to where it's solid, and it pulls this part up against my chest. Because the reason we put all that padding in there, that pipe insulation, is because we want it to be able to set up like this. So not only is it well, actually what it does is it gives me a good anchor point. So you've got an anchor point here. That's solid, that isn't going anywhere. You got your strap around the back, it's not going to go up and down. And you're going to have very, very little lateral movement too. And then you have all your play right here. Move it up and down. You can turn and twist this. And you can get it set to where you know you can see those fish coming in. And I've had several times in the past when I was videoing with a hat cam or trying to use a tripod on the boat, and I had a really neat situation where a fish would hit a bait and jump up out of the water. Well, I thought, wow, that's going to be cool to show YouTube land, and sure enough, it was just barely off the screen. Here, you don't have that problem. You can see what you're doing all the time on your viewfinder. If your camera has a viewfinder, and mine does. Some of them don't, but the Kodak PlaySport does. So keep in mind, this is going to have to be cinched up right here. But I'll turn around here and I'll grab one of my spinning outfits. You can see that if you pull it up a little bit more, and it's just going to kind of be a matter of comfort for you. That's how it's been for me when I've been using my other situation. You have the use of your hands, and basically all the opportunities that you normally would fishing. It might be a little cumbersome throughout the day, although the Kodak Placeboard is very light, so it shouldn't weigh you down too much. The bottom line is I think this is really going to allow a person to get good footage, to see what they're getting, to not have to guess at it. And one more thing that I might add too, I may have iterated this earlier, but on a hat cam, there's too much vibration. There's too much moving around, and it's I just don't like those videos where everything's shaking all the time. There is some movement, but I've noticed that you don't have to edit as much out because the camera is actually at the center of your gravity, or closer to it. So you're going to have a lot less movement this way than you would, say, if your camera was mounted on the rod itself or on your hat. So anyway, if you guys have any questions about this design or some ways you think I might want to tweak it, give me a shout. I'm looking forward to getting out there and trying this baby out on some fish. Until then, happy fishing to you.